Start. Topic is Introduction to Endodontics for BD final year. Next slide. Endodontics is a branch of dentistry that is concerned with morphology, physiology, and the pathology of human dental pulp and the perireticular tissue. Study and practice encompass the basic clinical science, including the biology of the normal pulp, etiology, diagnosis, prevention, and treatment of disease and injuries of the pulp and the associated perireticular conditions. So, going to the brief history, previously the root canal treatment was done with the help of the bronze wire, used chemicals, and history. Dr. Louis I. Grossman has given a major contribution in the development of endodontic treatment. So, anatomy, we know the pulp chamber, we know that the tooth chamber is composed of the enamel, dentin, and the pulp has a more important function in defending of the tooth structure. So pulp is composed of cells, intercellular substance, fiber element, vessels and nerves. So peripheral regions and the central regions, and it contains mainly the cells, fibroblasts and the collagen fiber. So A, odontoblast cells, B, cell-free zone, and C, cell-rich zones. So types of dentin. The dentin plays an important role in having a defensive mechanism against for the pulp. So it is made of types of dentin are primary dentin, secondary dentin, and the tertiary dentin. So what is primary dentin? It's a dentin that is formed before the root formation. Secondary dentin, it is formed after the root formation, and tertiary, it is also known as a repetitive dentin. So what we the dentin gives a reactionary repetitive tendency. So what if any stimulus will give an inflammation, whether it's a low grade or high grade, it will lead to formation of the autoblast activity that will lead to the formation of the tertiary dentin formation. So before going to the further, we have to know what is sinus and fistula. What is sinus? It is a blind tag, line back granulation tissue leading from epithelial surface down into the tissues. It can be hollow or a bay. What is fistula? It is a communication between lumen of one viscous to lumen of another. So pathology, any can be noxious stimuli, that is noxious stimuli, nothing but an unwanted stimuli. It leads to pulp inflammation, necrosis and dystrophy. And the noxious stimuli can be any bacterial, traumatic, heterogenic, chemical and idiopathic, that is of unknown. So bacteria can invade the tooth structure from the coronal end or from the radicular end, and from the trauma also it can be from the acute or chronic, that is can be a fracture of any side, coronal fracture, radicular fracture, whether it can be vascular stasis, luxation, eversion, or chronic it can be an adhesion, abrasion, erosion, or any percussive tendency. And heterogenic cavity preparation and the restoration. Cavity restoration include heat, occupation, depth, rehydration, any pulp exposure unknowingly, and the restoration during the restoration of any restoration, violating the protocols. Chemicals can be cement, plastic, etching agents, cavity liners. Disinfectant includes silver nitrate, phenol, sodium fluoride, and idiopathic of unknown, it can be aging, any resorption, that is internal, external, sickle cell anemia, herpes zoster, and HIV and AIDS, and these last three can be in the medically compromised condition. So before going to the endodontist, we have to know about the chief complaint that would decide the patient's history, that is the medical history and the dental history. We have to examine the clinical examination, both intraoral and extraoral, and the diagnosis that can be done with the pulp sensitivity test, select local anesthesia test, transillumination radiography, and with which decide the treatment. Now, infection control, operator and the dental nurse should be wear gloves and use an aseptic technique. All instruments used within the oral cavity should be sterile and should be decontaminated and sterilized or disinfected where sterilization is possible. Treatment includes indirect pulp capping, direct pulp capping, and irreversible pulp damage. Pulp amputation, pulpectomy, that is a routine treatment. So there is a difference between the direct pulp capping and the indirect pulp capping. So we have to, the main focus is that we have to protect the pulp. So direct pulp capping, it is defined as a procedure in which the exposed metal pulp is covered with a protective dressing or base laid directly over the site of exposure in an attempt to preserve the pulp vitality. Whereas indirect pulp capping, where the deepest layer of the remaining affected caries dentin is covered with layer of biocompatible material in order to prevent pulp exposure and further trauma to the pulp. So if there's a reversible pulpitis, we have to go for vital pulp therapy. and we have to do a pulp capping or pulpotomy. Whereas in necrotic pulp or irreversible practice, there is a two condition: closed apex or open apex. So closed apex we have to give a root canal treatment, and open apex we have to again give a root canal closure, and then we have to gain an obturation. So pulpotomy and pulpectomy, they are the techniques, indications and complications. Indication, we have to give in vital teeth pulpotomy, and pulpectomy now non-vital teeth and include the vital teeth also. Complication can be anesthesia complication, tooth fracture or tooth discoloration. Whereas in complication with pulpectomy, we have to give there's a complication, anesthesia, adverse effect, tooth discoloration, pain, local bleeding. So what is pulpectomy? It is the removal of the infected pulp partially or completely. It is an emergency procedure to relieve pain and to save milk teeth. So what are the indications that a tooth has to go for the root canal treatment? Teeth can be irreversible damage with necrotic pulp. There should be no clinical evidence of teeth with no evidence pulp disease where pulp is space is required for the restorative procedures. So consider can be provided for teeth with vital and non-pulp. Contraindication in which we cannot do a root canal treatment, that is with poor prognosis, uncooperative patients, and insufficient periodontal support, teeth that cannot be made functional or non-restored, where dental treatment cannot be. Indication for surgical endodontics, where radical findings of apical periodontitis or symptoms associated with obstructed canal, persisting or emerging disease following the root canal treatment, where root canal treatment is inappropriate and where the extruded material has gone beyond the apex, and perforation of the contraindication to surgical endodontics include local endodontic factors such as inaccessible root canal, tooth with inadequate periodontal support, uncooperative patients, patients with compromised medical history. What is the aim of the endodontic treatment? To preserve the teeth in a healthy and functional condition by removing the diseased pulp tissue, managing internal infection, and preventing its recurrence. So, what we do in root canal treatment, we do instrumentation, we irrigation, we. So, referral, where our endodontic patient should be referred, where complex case including the multi-dilated obstetric curve canals, emergencies, we need immediate treatment, medically compromised patients, and those with a true mental disorder. According to doctor informed consent, a dentist must have the informed consent, describing the proposed treatment, expose all these attendant to such treatment, discuss alternative procedures or treatment, and this should include the risk associated with doing nothing. So informed consent should include these following protocols. And Huberian emphasized that at least the record should contain the diagnosis, treatment, medication, and intestinal endodontics can be done where with the teeth with vital pulp. Example of situation where intestinal endodontics include erupted teeth or brittle teeth that must be reduced so drastically the pulp is certain to be involved. Thank you.